You know, I hear what you're saying. It's just, since I've got the cards, all I've been thinking about is gardeners. Are we in a video? Oh. I thought you started all your Mysterium videos with like a silly little skit between two characters. Did you look back on them and think they weren't very good? So I guess they're never coming back? Oh. Well, on the bright side, I guess that means these stupid little intros are going to be a lot shorter now. Mysterium Secrets and Lies is the second expansion for the Spooky Seance, and like its brethren Hidden Signs, it promises even more. More visions for the ghost to dream up, more suspects to pick on, more locations to delve into, and more weapons to... Wait, what's this? Stories? What's going on? Secrets and Lies focuses less on the who, where, what, and more on the who, where, why. And you know what? Having played this game a fair few times, I can say it's far more interesting being a nosy neighbour than doing actual police work. Each of the weapons in the third stage of the game are replaced by these wonderfully illustrated cards, detailing or possibly obscuring motives as to why one of your friends has suddenly become rather transparent. Let's face facts, any whispers of the rumour mill are far more important to the police than any objects that could be coated in the killer's fingerprints. Okay, well, if you must, you can play with any of the weapons supplied within the expansion, but if you're willing to put up a fight about that, be prepared to be put on some sort of list. But for us, this is now the only way to play Mysterium, not just because of the increase in difficulty, but because now the bizarre tone of the whole game carries from beginning to end. From a difficulty perspective, I understand why weapons are where they are. Some players may not have the time for multiple guesses once they hit stage 3, so need something simpler to get them through to the next round. But recently when we've been playing with them, they've been kind of lackluster because, well, we've already been searching for objects in the previous 2 stages. In the first stage, you have a bunch of professions to uncover, with the objects surrounding them acting as a lifeline should the ghosts have no decent vision cards for those careers. In the second stage, you have those locations filled with objects, but those are almost there to trip everyone up. Each stage has its caveat to add a layer of difficulty, but the weapons just have colourful backgrounds, which some players do interpret as a clue, which is fair enough in context for the game, but is that shade of yellow really foul enough to kill someone? For me, one of the biggest joys of Mysterium is when the ghosts can finally talk and the players all ask, why on earth did you play the octopus tree if you wanted us to pick the kitchen? It doesn't make any sense. With the weapons though, you don't have a lot to play around with. No one's going to ask, why did you play the Sea of Blades to signify the knife? Because sharp things, innit? These stories, however, play around with players' emotions, and oh boy, those can get taken out of context fast when you get in images like this. While the other psychic cards don't hide anything, these stories conceal faces, frame scenes in peculiar manners, and all encourage players to form some shady conclusions. Sure, mediums can assume a motive is simple, but they don't have the ghost hand taunting them to force connections, and once those connections appear, it's easy to fall into the trap of overthinking things. They are so deceptive. They look simple, but as they can trick psychics into playing with their heart and not their head, it can easily pigeonhole their theories and make the ghost's afterlife even tougher. Before, if someone was sure the iron was imperative to solving the case, you could try and steer them away from that with a good play of a ghost card that had nothing to do with irons. However, here, as players might not be focused on the objects and more the emotions that are stirring within the scene, it can be kind of harder to derail that with a portable Picasso. And that might mean more losses and therefore more souls trapped in limbo, but it'll also mean there'll be a lot more "what were you thinking?" moments every time your 42 minutes are up. And that for me is what makes Mysterium special. And the fact that it can continue that from beginning to end in progressively more interesting ways means that Secrets and Lies is an expansion I can never imagine not playing with. If the news of Mysterium Park has kind of disappointed you with its simplification, I can't recommend Secrets and Lies enough. It adds so much more than just cards, and once you seal the box, if you're the type of group that has a little laugh with your fellow psychics and the ghost at all your constant misinterpretations, this is going to create a hell of a scene at your next seance. If you're not though, don't get it, you might actually murder someone.